Deception, a whisper in the dark, a silken thread pulling you closer to the edge. It wears many faces, hiding in plain sight, often disguised as something alluring, something irresistible. We are drawn to charm, to confidence, blind to the darkness that can lurk beneath a charismatic smile. But trust, once broken, leaves a wound that festers, a constant reminder of the manipulative power some wield so effortlessly. Victor moved through the world with an almost gravitational pull. His laugh was infectious, a sound that could light up the darkest of rooms. It wasn't just his laugh, though, it was the way he carried himself, the way he seemed to glide through life with an effortless grace. People couldn't help but be drawn to him, as if he were a magnet and they were helpless metal shavings. His gaze intense, holding yours just a beat too long. It was as if he could see right through you, peeling back the layers to reveal your deepest secrets. That gaze could make you feel like the most important person in the world, or the most vulnerable. It was a look that promised understanding, yet hinted at something more, something just out of reach. He spoke of dreams, of ambitions, painting vivid pictures of a future shimmering with success. His words were like brushstrokes on a canvas, each one adding depth and color to the vision he was creating. He had a way of making you believe that anything was possible, that the world was full of endless opportunities just waiting to be seized. His passion was contagious, igniting a spark in everyone who listened. People, especially women, were drawn to his energy, his aura of invincibility. It was as if he had an invisible force field around him, one that made him seem untouchable, almost otherworldly. Women found themselves captivated by his charm, hanging on his every word, their eyes reflecting the dreams he so vividly described. They were drawn to him not just because of his looks, but because of the promise of something greater, something extraordinary. He had a knack for identifying vulnerabilities, for seeing the cracks in the armor that people tried so hard to hide. He could sense when someone was feeling insecure, when they needed a kind word or a reassuring smile, and he knew exactly how to provide it, how to make them feel seen and understood. It was a skill that made him both admired and feared, for while he could lift you up, he could just as easily tear you down, for whispering exactly what they longed to hear. His words were like a balm to the soul, soothing and comforting, yet laced with a hint of danger. He knew how to make you feel special, how to make you believe that you were the only one who mattered. But there was always a part of you that wondered if it was all just an act, if his words were as hollow as they were sweet. He was a master of persuasion, able to bend people to his will with nothing more than a well-placed word or a carefully timed smile. His arguments were always compelling, his logic flawless. He had a way of making you see things from his perspective, of making you question your own beliefs and assumptions. It was a talent that served him well, both in his personal and professional life. His true intentions veiled behind a carefully crafted facade. He was a man of many layers, each one more complex than the last. To the outside world, he was the epitome of confidence and charm, but those who knew him well understood that there was much more beneath the surface. He was a puzzle, a mystery that few could solve, and that perhaps was his greatest charm of all. Claire met Victor at a charity gala, a night that was supposed to be just another event in her busy social calendar. The room was a whirlwind of flashing lights and empty promises, a sea of faces masked by polite smiles and hidden agendas. Victor stood out, a beacon of confidence and allure. He was captivating, exuding an air of success that both intrigued and intimidated her. His presence was magnetic, drawing her in with every word and gesture. He spoke of her potential with such conviction, as if he could see into her very soul. He saw something in her that others hadn't, a spark that had been overlooked by many. His words were like a siren's call, promising a future filled with purpose and recognition. Claire felt a surge of inspiration, a longing to be part of something greater than herself.
He offered me a chance to be part of something bigger, something meaningful. His vision was grand, and his passion was infectious. I couldn't help but be drawn to the possibilities he painted.
Blinded by his charm and her own ambition, Claire readily accepted his offer. She was eager to prove herself, to step out of the shadows and into the light of success. The handshake that sealed the deal felt like a promise of a brighter future. Little did she know it was also the beginning of a journey fraught with unforeseen challenges and hidden dangers. Unaware that she was stepping onto a path fraught with danger, Claire walked forward with determination. The allure of success and recognition blinded her to the shadows that lurked ahead. As she ventured deeper, the path grew darker, the promises more elusive. The once clear vision of success began to blur, replaced by a growing sense of unease. Claire found herself at a crossroads, torn between the dream that had been sold to her and the reality that was unfolding. The siren's call that had once been so enticing now felt like a distant echo, a reminder of the choices she had made. But Claire was not one to back down. With renewed determination, she decided to face the challenges head-on, to carve her own path through the darkness. The journey ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to embrace it, to turn the siren's call into her own anthem of resilience and strength. Victor's requests started small, errands that blurred the lines between professional and personal. He needed favors, always urgent, always requiring discretion. He played on her loyalty, her desire to prove herself.
He showered me with praise, making me feel indispensable.
But with each passing task, a knot of unease tightened in Claire's stomach. She was in too deep, her life becoming increasingly entangled with his. Lines in the sand. The tasks escalated, deliveries to unknown individuals, meetings shrouded in secrecy. Each request chipped away at Claire's moral compass.
I told myself it was temporary, that I was helping Victor achieve a greater good. But
the doubt lingered, a persistent whisper in the back of her mind. Sleep became elusive, her dreams haunted by faceless figures and hushed conversations. Whispers of doubt, isolation became her new reality. Victor discouraged contact with friends and family, claiming it was for her own safety. He controlled her communication, monitored her movements.
the charismatic facade began to crack, revealing glimpses of a darker, more menacing side. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized the true extent of my predicament.
She was trapped, a pawn in a game she didn't fully understand. The unveiling. The truth hit Claire like a physical blow. A careless remark, a slip of the tongue from one of the Victor's associates revealed the horrifying reality of his business.
She had been manipulated, used to further his illegal activities.
My trust, my loyalty had been twisted into weapons against me.
Panic surged through her, the urge to flee battling against the paralyzing fear of what Victor might do. Scars of deception, a tale of trust broken and lives forever changed. Claire's escape was a desperate gamble, a frantic race against time. She had to disappear, to vanish without a trace. Every step she took was filled with fear and uncertainty, her heart pounding in her chest like a drum. The city streets, once familiar, now seemed like a labyrinth of danger and deceit. She packed her bag with trembling hands, knowing that every second counted. The night was her only ally, its darkness providing a cloak of anonymity. She moved swiftly, her footsteps echoing in the silence, a stark contrast to the chaos in her mind. She had to disappear, erase her tracks before Victor discovered her betrayal. Claire meticulously wiped away her footprints, both literal and digital. She knew Victor's reach was vast, his resources seemingly endless. Every trace of her existence had to be obliterated. She looked over her shoulder constantly, the paranoia gnawing at her sanity. The fear of being caught was a constant companion, a shadow that never left her side.
The experience left me shattered, broken in ways I never thought possible. I sat alone in the darkness, the weight of my decisions pressing down on me. The tears flowed freely, a release of the pent-up emotions that had been building inside me. The solitude was both a comfort and a curse, a reminder of the isolation that my choices had brought upon me. Haunted by the knowledge of my own vulnerability, I stared into the mirror, the reflection a ghost of my former self. The eyes that looked back at me were filled with pain and regret, a testament to the torment that I had endured. The distance between who I was and who I had become seemed insurmountable, a chasm that could never be bridged.
She had looked into the eyes of a master manipulator, a man whose sinister gaze could pierce through the strongest of defenses. Victor's eyes were cold and calculating, a reflection of his ruthless nature. He was a predator, always on the hunt, always looking for his next victim. Claire had been seduced by his charm, his charismatic demeanor a mask for the darkness that lay beneath. Their conversations, once filled with warmth and laughter, now seemed like a cruel joke. She had been drawn into his web, a willing participant in her own downfall, and she had paid a heavy price. The scars of deception ran deep, both physical and emotional. Each scar was a reminder of the pain she had endured, the trust that had been shattered. They were a testament to her strength, a symbol of her survival. The dark alleyways and ominous cityscapes were a constant reminder of the treacherous allure of unchecked ambition. The shadowy figures that lurked in the distance were a symbol of the dangers that lay ahead, the unknown threats that could strike at any moment. The devastating consequences of misplaced trust were all too real. The broken trust between Claire and Victor was like shattered glass, impossible to piece back together. The betrayal had left her scarred, but it had also made her stronger. She had learned the hard way that trust was a fragile thing, easily broken but not easily repaired. But amidst the darkness there was a glimmer of hope. Claire walked away from the past, her steps steady and determined. The sunrise on the horizon was a symbol of new beginnings, a promise of a brighter future. She had survived the scars of deception, and now she was ready to reclaim her life.